So hello guys, my name is Vinuma and today we do Fire and Ice by Robert Frost, which is second poem in class 10th English, the first fight book of the first fight. And my previous video of the Dust of Snow, in that video I have talked about some things about the author, about the poet who is Robert Frost. In this video, we will talk deeply about the Robert Frost, who is the poet of this video, and the theme of this video, and the summary of this video. So let's begin with our poem, which is Fire and Ice. So firstly, we talk about the author. He is the author. He is the author who is Robert Frost. He is the author who is Robert Frost. So Robert Lee Frost. The full name of the author, poet, sorry, Robert Frost is Robert Lee Frost. He born on March 26, 1874, and he died on January 29, 1963. His lifetime is from March 26, 1874 to January 29, 1963. He was an American poet. The Robert Lee Frost was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it published in America. So he was an American poet, but his first work is published in England before the America. So he is known for his realistic depiction of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. So he is the Robert Lee Frost, or we can say the Robert Frost, the poet of this poem. He is known for his realistic depiction of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. Frost frequently wrote about settings from rural life in New England in the early 20th century, using them to examine complex social and philosophical themes. So, the Robert frequently wrote about something about the settings of the rural area of the New England in the earlier 20th century, means in the time of the 90s, and using them to examine complex social and philosophical themes. And he used their setting, he used their the thoughts and other things in the to examine the complex social and philosophical themes. Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime and is the only poet to receive 4 Pulitzer Prizes of Poetry. It is a great achievement that he is the only poet who received the 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. The Frost was honored frequently during his lifetime. It means that he get more honor frequently in his lifetime than any other poet. He get more opportunity, he get more prizes for his poetry in his lifetime. He became one of the American rare public literary figure and almost an artistic institution. He was awarded by Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic work. On July 2022, 1961, Frost was named poet laureate of Vermont. So it means that he became the one of the America's rarest public literary figure, and almost an artistic institution. He was awarded by the Congressional Gold Medal, Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic work, and on July 22, 1961, he was named as a poet laureate of Vermont. So now we talk about when and why. When and why was Fire and Ice written? When and why? Why was this poem Fire and Ice written? So now we talk about the when and why the Fire and Ice was written. So according to one of the Frost biographies, Fire and Ice was inspired by a passage in Canto 32 of Dante's Inferno, in which the worst of offender of hell, the traitors, are submerged in a lake bound with ice. It is also said that the poem was inspired by the prominent astronomer Harlock Shapley. Once, when Frost asked Shapley how the world is supported to end, he replied that either the sun will explode and incinerate the earth, or the earth will somehow escape with fat only to end up slowly freezing in deep space. Surprisingly, the very next year, Frost published his poem Fire and Ice. So, according to the one of the Frost biography, that biography said that biography said that the Fire and Ice, this poem is inspired by the passage in Canto 32 of Dante's Inferno. In that passage, the Canto 32, in that passage, the worst offender of hell and the trailer traitors are submerged in the lake bound with ice. And this is also said that this poem Fire and Ice is inspired by the astronomer Harlock Shapley. And once, when the Frost asked Shapley how the world is supported to end, he replied that either the sun will exploit and in, and incinerate the earth, or the earth will somehow escape from this, the explosion of the sun, the heat of the sun, the earth is somehow escaped. Then the earth will slowly freezing. The temperature of the earth is going down slowly, and it became freezing slowly, and one at a time will come when the earth is completely frozen by the frozen in the deep space, and the all the human being, all the animals who are live on the earth will die, and with this the the earth will destroy it. The all human being, the all animals, or all creatures who are live on the earth will completely destroyed. They all will die, and the earth will frozen in the ice, and it will destroy whole planet. And then, surprisingly, the very next year, Frost who is Robert Lee Frost, published his poem Fire and Ice. So these are some expectations that according to the some biographies of the Robert Frost, these are some expectations that when and why the poem Fire and Ice was written. So now we come to the poem Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. So this is our first paragraph of the poem. Some says the world will end in fire, some says in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire, but if it is had to price twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffix. So this is our poem that some says the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to press twice, I think I know enough of hate. I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffix. So now we done this is our poem the Fire and Ice. This is done with our poem. So now we do our summary of this poem. So summary of the poem. The summary of the poem. The poem is a debate among the people about the end of the world. Some of them say that it will consume by fire, while some others says that earth will experience ice age. According to poet, it will be consumed by fire. But here the poet has metamorphically represent fire and ice as the strong emotions of people. He symbolized fire with the uncomfortable desire of the men, such as greed, lust, avarice, and rage, while ice with hatred, coldness, and rigidity. These strong emotions are enough to destroy the sanity and virtues of mankind, and which ultimately will lead to the destruction of the world. This is our summary of the poem. That in this poem the poet want to say that the fire and ice, the metamorphically meaning of the fire and ice are the strong emotions of the people. The poet symbolize fire. The poet compare fire. The poet compare fire with the uncomfortable desire, the unusual desire of the men, such as the greed, the lust, and the rage. And while the poet compare ice with the hatred, coldness, and rigidity. These two types of emotions, the uncomfortable emotions and the emotion like the hatred, coldness, and rigidity. These two emotions, these two strong emotions are enough to destroy and sanity and virtues. The virtues of any man, any woman, any human, the sanity of any human, of the mankind. It means that these two emotions, these two types of strong emotions are enough to destroy the sanity and virtues of mankind. If the sanity and virtue of the mankind is destroyed, then ultimately the destruction of the world will start. So the poet want to say that in this poem, this is the summary of the poem. Now next we talk about the detailed explanation, all explanation of the both the paragraphs. So before that I will tell you that the poet want to say that if human being get these emotion in his mind, take these emotion in his mind forever, and all human being get these emotions in their mind, and so they will destroy the sanity and virtues of the mankind, and that ultimately destroy the world. So the poet want to say that do not take these emotions, do not get these emotions in your mind like greedy, lust. Do not get greed in your mind, do not get lust in your mind, do not take and do not give hatred to anyone. So the poet want to say that we all have to live with love and do not hate anyone, do not greed. We have to satisfy with, we do not have to take the, or we do not have to pray the uncomfortable desires. So now we go with our detailed explanation. So the line from the some say to some say in eyes, from here to here. So this is first few lines describe the disagreement in general society on the topic of how the world ends. The poet is merely stating that people debate on whether the world will consumed by the fire or frozen by the ice. Ice and fire, of course, are opposite of one another, suggested that most people have entirely opposing views of the apocalypse, and fire and ice also represent two extremes, which on a grand scale could cause immense damage and are fitting metaphor for harbingers of death. So the explanation of these two lines are that these two lines of the first paragraph from the first paragraph, these first two lines describe that these two lines describe that the disagreement, the debate between the people on the topic of the between the general society on the topic how the world ends. And the poet is merely stating that people debate on whether the world will consumed by the fire or frozen by the ice. And of course fire and we all know that fire and ice are opposite to each other. So suggesting this two lines suggests that these two lines the poet want to say by these two lines that the most peoples have entirely opposing views of the views on the apocalypse. It suggests that the views of the peoples are opposite. They oppose the views of each other. And so the fire and ice in this poem, the fire and ice also represent two extremes, which one on which on a grand scale, true, two extremes emotion on a grand scale could cause immense damage to human being, to all living and non-living things on the earth, and are fitting metaphor for harbinging of death. And they both are the fitted metaphor of the harbinger death. So now the next lines from what I have to who favor fire. From here to here, these two lines. So here the speaker provide his own opinion. In these two lines, the poet give his own opinion. He equate the fire with the desire, greedy, lust, rage, etc. of the peoples. A candle or a fireplace show a person the way. It is warmth, and the light act as a guide. In the same way, small desires are no trouble at all and can guide a person to the things they want in life. But on a large scale, however, a fire is dangerous and destructive. Similarly, uncontrollable desire, uncontrollable desire cause, the typing mistake is there. Here is cause danger and bring doom to the whole humankind. The speaker recalls his experience with this strong desire and trends to believe that it is the experience it is those kind of emotions and impulses that led to the world to its doom. Hence the speaker believed that the world will end in the fire. So this is the summary you can write in if in exams or any other test paper. You have to write the summary of these two lines. This is a summary in the five marks question, and now I will explain you what is this. So in these two lines, the poet provide his own opinion on the how the world will end, with the fire or ice. So the poet says the world will end with the fire, and he equate fire with the desires, uncontrollable desires, greedy and lust, rage, etc. with equate fire with these all things. And the poet want to say that a candle or a fireplace show a person a way. If we burn a candle, we can that light up the room or a small place, that will guide us, and it provides heat, it provides a little amount of heat that will enough for us. But if but same as the small desire, you small desire are no trouble at all. Small desires are guide you like a candle, and guide a person that the things they want in life. But like the fire is on a large scale is dangerous and destructive, as similarly uncontrollable desires on a large scale are dangerous and bring doom to the whole humankind. The speaker recall his experience with this strong desire and trends to believe that it is those kind of emotions and impulse. Fire is the uncontrollable desire is those kind of emotions and impulse that led to the world to his end or doom. Hence, the speaker believed that the world will end in the fire. This is the summary of these two lines. This is the summary of these two lines. From what I have tasted to the desire I hold those who have fear fire. So now the next page, the next lines. So from but if it had to rise twice to the end word suffix. It means from here to the end of this paragraph. Yeah. So in these lines, in these 4 or 5 lines, I think the poet says that on the other hand, the speaker or the poet equate ice with the emotions like hatred, coldness, selfishness, and rigidity. These are some emotions that poet equate with the ice. He believed that if fire somehow wasn't enough to destroy the world entirely, then the ice could manage the fate as well. He thinks that ice is equally dangerous and destructive. It is something that would chill the world, slow it down, and isolate each individual enough that the human race simply couldn't survive. The potential of ice will be sufficient to destruct the world, even though the speaker tends to believe in the destructive power of the desire. He sees no reason to believe that hate couldn't end the world just as easy. So in these last lines of the paragraph, the poet says that the fire, he equates the ice with the emotions like hatred, selfishness, rigidity, and etc. And he believed that if fire is not able to destroy the world entirely, then the ice will manage to destroy the world entirely. If somehow the fire will not destroy the world, not destroy entire world, so the ice could manage the fate as well. Ice could manage to destroy this world entirely. So the poet he thinks that the ice is equally dangerous as the fire, and dangerous and destructive as fire. So it is something that could chill the world. The ice is something that could chill the world, slow it down. So it can slow down the world and isolate each individual. Isolate each individual means froze each individual, freeze each individual. That will enough to that human race simply couldn't survive, and the potential of the ice will be sufficient to destroy the world. And ice has a potential to destroy the world entirely. What is ice here? Ice are the strong emotions of like hatred, coldness, selfishness, rigidity. These are some. The poet compared these emotions with the ice, and poet believed that if the uncontrollable desires of men will not destroy the world entirely, then the hatred, coldness, selfishness, rigidity will destroy the world entirely. And even though speaker tend to believe that in the destructive power of the desire, but even though the poet believed that the destructive power of the desire, the uncontrollable desire, is more than the eyes, but he sees no reason to be he has no reason to say that the hates, the selfishness have couldn't end the world is the world. So this is the whole summary of the poem, and this is the summary of the poem, and this is the detailed summary of the poem. So, and also the PDF of this summary, and the now we do the word meaning of this poem. These are some word meaning and poetic devices. So I will send the link of the PDF of this of the poem of this PDF. I will send I will give you the link in the description of of this PDF, and you can simply click on the link and get the can download the PDF from the Google. So now we continue with our word meanings. So these are some words which are come in our poem, that praise, praise, tested, suffix, and great. So the meaning of the praise means come to the end or die. Tested means experience. Suffix means be sufficient, and great means here powerful. So these are some simple word meaning of this poem. That no, I don't think that the more word meaning are there in this poem. The difficult words are in this poem. So now we do our poetic devices and the figure of speech, or we can say the figure of speech. So first is anaphora. Where the anaphora is used in this poem is some says. You all know that what is the anaphora, what is the poetic devices. These poetic devices, if you want the separate video of these poetic devices, you can simply tell me in the comment section, and I will make the video on this. So anaphora, some says repeated in the first. Some says, this is the anaphora. Anaphora means repeated in the first and the second line. Anaphora is just simply like if these two lines are written, and the first word of this line, the first word of the line is same, like S. That's the first word of this both line. Like here, you can see that. Yeah, like some says, some says. These first two words are same. So this is the anaphora. Yeah, metaphor and symbolism. So we know that what is metaphor and symbolism. So fire and ice are compared with the strong passion and the haters relatively. So if those don't know what is metaphor is basically a poetic device in which we compare the non-living things with the living things, or with the something related to the living things, like the emotions of the living things. Third one is imaginary. Fire and ice has deep meaning. Fire means feeling of burning desire, and ice means coldness of haters. The fourth one is alliteration. Some says in alliteration, the first word like this, S, the first alphabet of the word will same in the same line. The first alphabet of the two word, if the first alphabet of the two word is same, and they are in the same line at if they are in the same line, then the poetic device used is alliteration. They are in this poem, the two times the poetic device is this poetic device is used in the some says and favor fire. Fifth one is enjambment. This is used in this line, I think to the destruction ice. And sixth one is antithesis, which is in this antithesis, two contradictory ideas expressed, like fire and ice. The two contradictory ideas are expressed here. Now the rhyming scheme. The rhyming scheme are ABA, ABC, and BCB. These are the rhyming scheme of this poem, and these are the question answers of this poem. And I will tell you that we will do these question answers in our next video. These are some question for practice, and these are some long questions, and these are some short questions. So we will do this question answer in the next video. So thank you and thanks for watching. And yeah, don't forget to leave a like on this video, and please subscribe to our channel, and also click on bell icon for getting my all the updates. And thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye, and thanks for watching.